Well, the Minister for Education, Sport and Culture is with us. This is Dr Allison. I've been doing also an interview about elections, and that will be separate, but obviously I have to say you are standing. Please do check the listings, depending on when we record this, of other candidates standing. But today, the news is A-levels.
Yes.
The UK media has gone massively on this sort of inflation that's gone on because it's all been done by assessments. Not quite the same story here, though.
No, I mean, first of all, exams were cancelled. We had to assess grades, and teachers have been working incredibly hard with all the rest of the school staff over the last 6 months to get a resilient system, because we didn't know what would happen. People being off sick, schools have been in shutdown mode as well earlier on this year. So we had to assess grades properly, and again, teachers have been doing a fantastic work. I'm really proud of our students. They've got through this, and going around the schools this morning, the vast majority of students, of A-level students, got where they wanted to go. Whether that's university, quite a few of them have opted for the superb courses at UCM as well, or whether that's going into training or employment on the island. So what we're talking about this year, rather than grades, because yes, they have gone up. The
Even here
grades,
though, because not quite the same. I thought in some places inflation's been massive, hasn't it?
What it has, when you look at various areas in the country, we use the same exam boards as they do in the UK. So we use the Welsh boards and the Scottish boards and predominantly English boards and Cambridge International. What we've seen is teachers teaching what people will be examined on. So that skews it a little bit. We've also seen a lot more students doing self-directed learning because they've been online. They've actually done a lot of work themselves. They've been working really hard because of the uncertainty. If you're not quite sure what the system's going to be like, you really cram it in over a long period of time. And teachers really working incredibly hard to get those assessments that are resilient. All those assessments are then checked by the examination board. But I'm really pleased to say that the outcomes and the destinations for those students has been absolutely spot on. A few have had to go through clearing today, but actually they've been offered places. So we're getting that success that we really wanted for our students, despite everything that they've been through over the last 18 months.
Let's talk about that, despite, because it hasn't gone well in places. I mean, there's been clearly issues where it wasn't working online and all that. Lessons learned, I'm sure you can tell me. But how much has it affected those students who have gone through this?
Hugely. I mean, because they've been dealing with academic life, they've been dealing with whether their school's going to be open or not, but also they've been dealing with their family life and their grandparents that they can't visit, and the general aspects of fear and uncertainty in our environment and in our community. So again, I'm so proud that so many of them have done so well in terms of overcoming all those obstacles with the support of their teachers and school staff to get where they wanted to get for the next stage in their lives.
Do you see it steadying down for the next generation now, going through with all what we've been living through?
I do, and I think what we need to do is learn the lessons of this last 18 months in terms of blended learning, in terms of using IT, in terms of having a resilient education system, but also I'm really hoping that the exam boards will look at how they assess things. Is it still right to judge 2 years in 1.5 hours? An exam.
You think some changes?
I think we have to.
Right.
I think we have to have a blend of some exams and some continuous assessment, but take the workload off teachers so that they're not having to do it all themselves. And there's clear guidelines about how we get to there in the future. Let's
talk about teachers and workloads. It's not been a happy ship for many teachers. You've lost some, and whatever reasons, there's plenty of reasons. And we hear about schools being oversubscribed massively. Balcoming with extra classrooms going in there. What do you have to say about that?
I mean, there is a lot of work to be done in terms of education. That we're trying as a government to grow the active population, so we're going to be having more children. We need to look at the school estate, we need to look at particularly the secondary schools that we've got. How can we balance students between them? But also we're doing a major investment at Castle Rushen in terms of a new school there, and also a new science block at QE2, and those are on track. They have been delayed, and I apologise for that, but those are still on track.
We will get having all these extra blocks. That can't be right, can it?
It isn't, and we need to deal with that. We need to look.
How are you going to deal with that?
We need to look at the schools within Central Douglas and see where the spare capacity is, and try to space those students out to have a much better, more resilient system. And if we do need to build extra classrooms, proper permanent classrooms, then budget for that and go forward. Because again, we need to invest in the infrastructure of our island.
Investing in teachers. Where are you up to? Because the dispute's been on and off and on. I mean, where is it settled? Is it still outstanding?
It's not settled. There are still there are still areas of contention in terms of pay, in terms of terms and conditions.
So that'll go into the next administration now, really? It's
no,
too late for you, is it?
It's ongoing, but we're talking with each other. We're negotiating with each other. We will continue to do that.
Hence it's gone quiet because the media's not involved.
The media isn't involved, and I really apologise that those teachers felt that they had to go to the media to actually have their voice heard. Their voice is now being heard. We hopefully have changed a lot of the culture of the department so that we have that discourse.
How have you done that?
We've done it by rearranging things. We went through...
Have you got involved in this?
Yes. We went through a period in Tynwald in terms of the Beeman's report, in terms of them working with the education service to find out how we would restructure the department, how we would start talking to each other better, and there have been various changes in personnel at the top to facilitate that change.
Okay, I get that as a bit of code, so there's been a bit of movement and that's helped things.
Absolutely, and also we are now moving the department from Hamilton House into the DEFRA offices at St John's, which again is making that cultural change from a 3-storey building into an open plan office, so that everyone is working together for the good of the community.
So I was talking to someone, I can't remember who now, but it was saying maybe like St Innes was the sort of sixth form area, that would help all sorts of things, but the teachers then want more money because it's a sixth form college. These sort of things then get knocked back. Is anything in those sort of things?
Everything is on the table at the moment, but what we need to do is talk to the educators, talk to teachers, find out the best way that we can structure our education service for the benefit of the pupils.
But you can't get any more money now that we're not sitting. I know you're still coming, but surely it has to be approved. Anything, so it's basically on hold, isn't it, until the new administration?
Things are on hold, but what we can do is make some long-term strategic plans now for how we further improve the education service, how we deal with things like increasing numbers of pupils, how we deal with diversifying the curriculum, and how we can actually improve the education service. So we've got a whole range of various different consultations going through. There will be new legislation coming in at the start of the new administration in terms of student awards, actually valuing things like distance learning, so people who want to stay on Ireland but do distance courses online, how we fund that. There's a whole range of opportunities that we can seize on the back of the last 18 months.
But you may not be there to see it through. That's what I'm trying to get to, because who knows where things are going to be. And so you took it over from somebody else as well, didn't you?
And so what I've been trying to do in my short tenure as Minister is make sure that the department, that the education service can carry on, whoever's made Minister, to make sure we've got a clear strategy, a clear policies there, and above all, that we value the staff that work in the service. And
back to the A-levels, clearly I'm sure that it's fantastic for most people, but there are probably still other areas that hasn't been quite so good, work in progress, no doubt, or things need still improving. You're not sitting back and relaxing on this one.
No, absolutely not. I mean, what we're doing over the summer is doing some clear signposting, lots of careers advice for those people who maybe aren't quite sure where they want to go in the future. There are lots of opportunities out there in terms of job vacancies, training vacancies, things happening at UCM, and going into further and higher education.